Well, hello everyone. Glad to see you. Oh, excuse me. I forgot to do something. All right, there we go. Um, you was waiting. Yeah, I put my slideshow up while I finished getting ready, so you guys could, get yourselves in the mood. Still no audio? Well, I don't know. It's showing that there's audio. I don't know why there's none. It should be some. There wasn't any for the slideshow if that's what got you confused. Oh, yeah, there was no audio for the slideshow. That was just, to keep you busy and looking at something until I got here. That's what's got me all messed up. I'm actually looking for what's wrong. But no, all the indicators are indicating everything's working right. Everything's working fine. We're here for Topic Thursday, which is something that we do. It wasn't broken. There was no sign, no sound for the slideshow. That was just, something showing you, just let you see for the topic. It was not meant to be any audio at that part. But what I wanted to talk about, every Thursday we talk about a topic. And today, I bandied around a couple of different things, different topics that we could have talked about. And I, actually kind of worked on them. Then I was like, this isn't really exciting. I'm going to throw that away. And then, I worked on a couple other things. But then I finally decided on this one. And the reason I did is because on September 18th, something is coming up called National Father. Well, I don't know about national, but it's Father Bring Your Kids to School Day, September 18th. It's from my understanding. I saw an article about it a year or two ago in a newspaper, and this thing got national coverage. And it showed a bunch of brothers bringing their kids to work, I mean, to school rather, for one goddamn day. One. Okay. They did this for one day and got national news coverage. Politicians was talking about it. They have a website launched. It's like this whole big fucking deal with, events and kudos and mayors speaking on it and all this stuff. It's that unusual for a black man to bring his goddamn kids to school that it requires all of this support and kudos and recognition and acknowledgement and hand clapping and all this stuff because you got off your ass, got your ass up one time and took your own kids to school. Mothers around the world take their kids to school every goddamn day and get absolutely zero pub for it. One day, September 18th. Um, I meant to, write down the website so I could share it to you, but share it with you rather. But I just was so unimpressed. I mean, I'm sure it's good. The kids probably feel good about it. It makes a mark and all of that. But that's the kind of thing that you as a father need to do a couple of times a week. I mean, you and the wife can switch off, you and the baby mama, whatever. That's something that you need to be doing consistently. And you use that time on your way to school to pump your kids up. Tell them how successful they're going to be today, how much you want to hear about what they learned, how excited you are for them to learn new stuff and to prove themselves and to try new things. I mean, you get your kid hyped up for learning. That's what you do when you take them to school. You get them ready for the day. And if more fathers did that, especially if more fathers did a lot of the stuff that I'm going to talk about today, it would make such a difference in millions of children's lives. And the what's going on in the black community could change within a year if fathers got involved with their children and did what the kids need them to do. Society doesn't cripple fathers. Fathers cripple themselves. You know, don't even make excuses for them. They make decisions. Like they just make decisions to rob a store. They make a decision to smoke drugs. They make a decision to smoke cigarettes, to drink yak, to, whatever they do. They made a decision to do that thing. Stop excusing them with weak little punk ass excuses. Society doesn't do shit to them. Okay, they made those choices themselves. So you get up and you decide whether you have a job or not. Your kids should be important to you. Whether you are a gangbanger or not, your kids need to be important to you because they didn't ask to be here, and you need to provide them with the support that they need so they don't turn out like you for no other reason. You want them to be better. You want them to be greater later. So don't talk to me about society doing shit to niggas, because niggas made those choices. That's what grown people do. They make decisions. Yes, yak. Have you never heard that term? That's the term for cognac. Yak, cognac. Um, it's just kind of, I don't know. I read that and I'm still trying to figure out how I feel about it. You can see I'm stuttering and I'm not really. I don't know. I have so many mixed emotions about it. I mean, just reading the stuff. I mean, they got all kind of news coverage and all these articles and everything about it because they did some shit that they should be doing anyway for one day. One day. It was such an anomaly that everybody was like so wild and floored by it that they did this. And on another article I read, 100 Black Men, that's, an organization. I don't know if it's national or not, but they used to do a lot of stuff around here in the Bay Area called 100 Black Men. Well, these 100 black men went to a school and they stood outside the school in the morning again for one day and high fived the kids as they went in dressed in their work clothes. And it was all the stuff associated with it. Like, kids need to see men, working and dressed for work and doing all stuff. And, we're there. And all they did was slap the kids' hands. And it got news coverage. Are you feeling me? This is how unusual it is for black men to do anything for kids. That it has to be all in the newspaper, on TV, radios, dozens of articles written about it. You know how sad that is? I mean, I know people are excited about it and hoping that it meant something and all that, but one day's not going to do shit. One day a year? What about the other 364? You know what I mean? What you doing? So you make a big show and go down there and high five some kids, and then you go on and continue your married life, doing what the fuck you was doing, and turning your back on those kids all over again. Why did you even bother? If you're not going to do it and be consistent about it, just stay your ass at home. Okay. Yeah, they want a cookie, girl. They want not cookies, kudos, rounds of applause, prize baskets, and behind door number two, they want all kind of stuff because they did something that one day. One. So before we get started, I have two things I want to say. Well, actually three. First, and this is not one of the three things, I ate some Thai food and I had the nerve to tell them that I wanted to be spicy. My ass is still coughing, and that was about 2 hours ago. Woo! Them people take the spice seriously. Okay, but that wasn't one of the three things. The one of the three things I wanted to say is, remember how I was talking about I was going to start doing video interviews on the street and making them into videos, with people? Behold the video camera. It came from Amazon. And it came, let me put it over here. As you see, it fits my hand perfectly. This is my new weapon of mass destruction because I'm going to be destroying some folks' thought patterns with this. This is my new toy. I want to thank all my Patreon subscribers for, their consistency. That's what changed this whole program. They were supporting me with, I got the lights, I got the backgrounds, I got the, updated computer, I got the new camera, I got the video camera. We about to roll out some shit around here. And to thank you, this is announcement number 2. To thank my Patreon subscribers, I will be having a private session with them. You guys will be talking about whatever you want to talk about for 2 hours. I will make the notice. I'm going to go through the Patreon and get everybody's email address. So make sure that if you change your email address, make sure that you updated. And this is going to be for everybody who donates $20 a month or more. $20 a month or more Patreon subscribers, you will be invited to a private 2 hour session with me where we're going to have a free for all and talk about whatever you want to talk about. You're going to have my full attention for 2 hours. It'll be a nice small group, and we can, we can just talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. All right. That's and now like I said, I'll figure out a day and a time, and then I'll send out the announcement. Plenty of time for you to, arrange your schedule so you can make sure that you're there. Yep, that's gonna be private for the Patreon people. Sorry. And I also want to thank the people who were doing the super chat. You guys came through too, and also helped contributed to the purchase of this camera. And it's just a good key. It's a good. No, the private chat will not be uploaded here. That's gonna stay private. That's gonna be sneak. I saw that. I mean, well, I was getting ready for the show and I briefly, so I didn't read it yet, but I did saw it. So thank you, Christian. But yeah, so it's $20, and you're gonna have 2 hours of me time. Okay, I want to do that for you because everybody's been just so great to me and really helped this program reach a new level. And what was the final thing? I guess that was it. Those were the three things that I wanted to say. Oh, and there's one more thing too, because we're going to be talking about fathers. I pulled out a picture. It's kind of old. It's a picture I took of my parents when I was in college, and I was taking photography. I was working for a photo studio in San Francisco called Dore Studios. It's not there anymore, on Mission Street. And they taught me how to do photography. And I had a background and stuff. And I looked at, you notice the resemblance? That's my mom and my dad. And that man right there, when I talk about my crazy ass daddy, my auntie Alma, and all the stuff I talk about, my grandfathers and stuff, those are the two people that those people came from. And I thought I would show you that so you could see uh, from whence I come. So that's what we want to talk about. Yeah, well, we're going to talk about daddies today. I was reading some, very disturbing statistics about fatherlessness, and yeah, that's why you think I'm so cute. Yeah, I thought so too. I'm a combo, but we all got my daddy's big eyes though. Me, all my brothers, my what you call them, half sisters. We all, you could look at us and tell that we related. We all got them same big googly eyes. Everybody got the same eyes, and it's just kind of funny to see us all in the room. Now, what? I don't know how he could look familiar. The man been dead 20 years. He died in 97. No, I'm sorry, 94. He died in 94. But I mean, he might have looked familiar, but that picture was taken in the 80s, so that's brings back memories. But I wanted to share too. Now that you've seen the picture of my daddy, I wanted to tell you a little story. When I was a baby, I was always a daddy's girl. Oh my God, it's like the sun rose and set on that man's head. And my very first sentence, my first sentence, the first words they heard me say other than hi and mama and stuff, but I made a full sentence. And they asked me, what did I want for Christmas? And I said, I want my daddy. And that's the title of this show, I Want My Daddy. Now that just goes to show you how crazy I was about that man. And it was, he had done something stupid and had his butt in jail for like 3 days or something, as I understand it. And so he wasn't around for those 3 days, and I missed him horribly. And that's what, motivated me to say that I wanted my daddy for my Christmas present. And he just happened they, got him out, made sure my little dream came true. But, when you think about what's going on in the black community, and I mean, scientific report after report talks about the importance of a father-daughter relationship on a girl's self-esteem, her sense of herself, her confidence levels, her willingness to take, calculated risks and grow and learn and feel supported and loved and protected. I mean, all the things that little girls need as they're growing up. A daddy is the first man that you love. If you don't have no daddy, who takes that man's place? Who do you love then? Just somebody who comes along. That's why so many young girls are so vulnerable to these perverts, because the men, the mama's boyfriends and stuff come in like they're gonna love you and be the daddy, and then the next thing you know, she's getting this attention and stuff that she craves, and then he uses that, though he manipulates her with that. Whereas a wholesome father-daughter relationship, notice I use the word wholesome because they aren't always that way. A wholesome father-daughter relationship can be so enriching to a girl's life and provide such great stability and foundation for her to spring forward and accomplish everything she ever dreamed of and more. A father, by you being your first love, is also the man who sets the standard for what you expect from other men and the bar for you. If you don't have a father, and you only had men in your life acting as a father that mistreated or abused you, your bar is very, very low, if it's there, wanted there at all. And I believe, this is no scientific proof behind this, but when you look at the vast numbers of young women that grew up without a father and how um, the kind of relationships that they get themselves into, and the way that they accept the mistreatment and abuse and neglect and rejection of all these different men, there has to be a correlation. There has to be one. I just can't see how so many millions of women would fit into a certain category and there not be some defining characteristics that will permeate their lives and their relationships and their thoughts, self-esteem, and everything else. Because we see too many similarities across the board, and what these girls all have in common is they're fatherless. Am I right? That's something I think that we need to think about. Yes, she is. She's very what's your name? What am I trying to say? Uh Lady, what's her name? The one with all the X's. Hey Eddie, what's going on? We're talking about fatherless women tonight and the impact that that has on their, yes, those fathers that are detached are just as bad. They're just as bad. And oh, I see some stuff up at the top. What is this? Oh, it's $10 and a $50 donation. Thank you, ladies. I'm sorry. I'm just talking and didn't even notice. Um, Thank you. I much appreciate it. Yeah, great for the love. Yeah, we do need more active fathers. I think a lot of these guys, they haven't didn't have a father in their life, so they don't really know the importance of it. Although I did see one young man, and this guy, um, one of those little, he was 19, 21. I mean, he's a young dude. The little red-headed, little sagging pants, little skinny dude. But he had his little son with him, and they were at the library, right? And everybody was just like stunned because where we lived was like white people. And so everybody's looking at him because A, you don't really see black men there. B, no black men with a black kid. It's like the first one I'd seen, and I lived there for 5 or 6 years. And then at the library. So I mean, it was like a trifecta of like what? And so he was there. It's everything. His little kid was running around. He was correcting him and everything. And a young dude. You know what I mean? I did. Oh, can I do it now? How do I do it? I don't want to block you. That's what's coming up. That's not right. I think I have to be on YouTube to do that. Let me see if I can hop over there right quick. Um, what was I getting ready to say? So yeah, so the young guy, he's there with the kid and everything. So after he was walking by, I stopped him. I said, can I talk to you for a minute? Can I ask you something? And I said, it's just so great to see you here, reading and getting books for your little boy and stuff. That's not a very, usual behavior. So what motivated you to come here? What made you think that that's what you needed to do? I'm very curious. And he said that he grew up without his dad, and that he wanted to make sure that his kid, um, okay, there we go. He wanted to make sure that his child didn't have to go through ways that that he had, the things that he had to go through. Now, as far as dumping active fathers, if for a woman to stay involved with you requires more than you be a good father. Now, you can be a good father to the child. You do not have to have a relationship with the child's mother. You have a relationship with your child. Unfortunately, too many men tie the two together. And if they break up with the woman, then they want to break up with the child as well, and that is foul. You don't want to see the kid. You go out and you start a new relationship with somebody else, and then you be on over there about your business, and you know, you don't realize that you have a role separate and apart from the relationship that you have with that woman. That's irrelevant. You work things out with her. If you can't work things out with her, you take it to court and you let the courts work it out. But a lot of men don't want the courts in their business because you got to file income reports, and you might want to send a shrink out, or one of those social workers to look at your house and make sure everything's cool, and where you have a place for the kid to sleep if there's kids on the weekends and all this kind of stuff. So there's some changes that you have to go through, and a lot of men just say fuck it. They don't want to be bothered, and so they separate their relationship. They kind of part ways with their child. That's what seems to happen quite a bit. And I think that when it comes to girl, well, let me just talk about some of this research that I was reading. This one article, where did I find this? Oh, this website called Children's Rights. They say children being raised without dads is an epidemic in the United States. We're not talking about the mothers, though. You guys stop talking about the parents. We're talking about the children and the relationship with their father. That is all. I don't want you derailing the conversation, talking about who that was a crazy woman and who was this and that. That's irrelevant to the subject matter. We're not talking about that. Stay focused. We're talking about the needs of the children in particular, and what those kids benefit or how it harms them if they don't have a relationship with their father. That is the only thing on the topic on the table tonight. Please stay on topic. All right. And this author says, when speaking of absentee fathers, I'm referring to fathers who are uninvolved or appear every so often in a child's life. So that's what I'm saying. These fathers walking the kids to school one day a year, and they want rounds of applause and a fucking parade for doing it. What is that? It says most fathers don't seem to realize that their absence negatively affects their children. Most researchers focus only on children and not how the absence of a father continues to affect these children well into adulthood. And this was a research paper, delves into the topic of fathers as women and how their relationships are affected. And it talks about why fatherless women have a string of bad relationships. And I think it's important to note, even the ones who get married still have a bad relationship. They accept way more bullshit than anybody else ever would because of the confidence level. If a girl has a really good relationship with her dad, she's gotten rules and guidelines for how to conduct herself and how to handle men. And the level of bullshit she's going to take is minimal, very minimal. So, if a girl doesn't have a dad, she's more likely to be so hungry for that relationship that she's going to accept mistreatment from a guy just to keep that guy around because she feels so rejected and lost and discarded by her dad. She doesn't want to feel that again, so she gets this guy, right? He claims he loves her, and so she clings to him. She clings. She's like a person with a life raft in the ocean. It's like she just cannot let him go. It's like I think a lot of guys prefer to have a woman that has doesn't have a dad because she's much more easy to manipulate emotionally than a woman who has a lot of emotional strength, which she got at the hands of her father. When you have a good relationship with a man who supports and respects you and doesn't violate your boundaries, okay, that's very important, because some of these dads are a little freaky there. It just changes you. It changes you. It just gives you a whole different respect for yourself, a whole, because the things that they tell you, like, girls are always hungry to hear that they're beautiful. Well, dad will tell you that you're beautiful. You don't look at my pretty little baby, blah, 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 blah. So you hear that growing up, and then, it becomes a part of who you are. You look great, and you look great. So see, yeah, so your father was abusive. See, that's what I'm talking about. These dads, they're there, but that's not a healthy relationship, and that's why I use that word. It has to be a healthy relationship where there's healthy boundaries, healthy respect, healthy admiration and support and these kinds of things. Otherwise, sometimes a girl that's got one of those defective daddies that's like hurtful and harmful is actually worse off than if she didn't have him one at all. Because like the fantasy is better than the reality of a situation like that. He's still your rock. Well, yeah, and I think it's important for us to before we even go too far into this, to really acknowledge this one point. I am not saying that a man is perfect and that because he's your dad, he's got to be perfect. Okay? He cannot be perfect. He's just a person. Okay? They're gonna fuck up. Because I remember when my dad, I got about, I don't know, 15 maybe, and I looked 14, something like that. And like the gold rose, what they call them, rose colored glasses that I used to look at my father at, they just fell off. And then I was looking at him, I was like, look at this nigga. Just getting on my nerves. But that's all 14-year-olds. They don't want to be seen with their parents. You know what I mean? It's like your parents are ugly and stupid and they don't know anything and they're dumb and you just don't even want to be seen with public in them and you want to pretend like you're adopted and all kind of stuff, 13 and 14-year-olds go through. You don't want to be caught dead with your parents. It's like, ew. So, just put factor all that in. But I still think that having a dad, especially when you're young, really helps you lay a foundation upon which your self esteem can grow. You see him at the funeral, well, damn, dude, deuces. That's cold. Okay, so now she gives you she gives the story. Envision a child who cannot remember how his or her father looks. That child constantly wonders if the men that she passes by could in fact be her daddy. This child has no memories of any special time spent with her dad. She has no idea of his personality. All she knows is that the stranger on the telephone who calls a few times a year calls himself dad. And then she writes, unfortunately, this scenario happens to over 21 million children across the United States. And this is based on statistics from 2011, family court numbers. The side effects do not stop just once the child turns 18. Often overlooked are the effects that an absentee father has on his adult daughter. Women who have been raised without a father can be affected in various ways. Now let's talk about this. And he was busy raising kids that weren't his. What the hell? What's his problem? Yeah, Kristen's come a long way. I've seen her come a long way just since she's been associating with this channel. Um, her wording is stronger. Her thoughts are more defined. Her wording and her sentence structure comes across as more decisive and powerful. She's not so like timid, so it's really interesting to see. And I haven't met her. I'm just talking about what I've observed her say in the chats and on my different social media pages. Some great changes there. So then she says, it's believed that if infants have an insecure relationship with their caregiver, that normal social and emotional development will not occur. That's cute. That's true. And that's why they have like people that go into hospitals, the babies have to be in neonatal intensive care units or hospitals. They have people come in and hold them and talk to them and sing to them and walk them around and provide them with stimulation. Human babies, human children, infants, toddlers, everybody, they need that kind of interaction with people to form safe personalities, sane personalities, and develop a sense of self. And so when they don't have that kind of stuff, they're left alone to cry in their crib all the time. They're abandoned to play by themselves all the time. Nobody ever talks to them. They just sit in front of the TV and give them some McDonald's or something. I mean, those kids grow up and they have emotional problems. And if a girl's hungering for, that kind of contact with her dad, someone to talk to, someone to guide her, someone to protect her from harm, and someone to just ask questions are about, she gets older, about men and life and stuff, to get his perspective. And there's that void there. What's she gonna do? Where's she gonna get this information from? Those are the men that you see prowling middle schools looking for little girls like that. They can spot that hunger on their faces a mile away, and they hone in like the fucking vultures that they are. It's terrible. It's terrible. Let's see what Benny says. My daughter has a middle income upbringing without one. I shared the Debsterism channel with her. Another voice is good. That's true. That's true. Yeah, I mean, you can a mother certainly can mitigate a lot of that influence, that damage, because it depends on what kind of relationship that you have with your daughter. Um, Being open to her, especially if you grew up with your dad, or your letting her be around her grandparents and her uncles and stuff like that, as long as they keep them hands to themselves, you know what I'm talking about. That can be a very good thing too. It provides that same kind of male reinforcement before she gets to the teens and gets hungry for that kind of stuff and starts using her body, or allowing men to talk her into using her body to get that kind of attention. So that's why a lot of little girls, get caught up in stuff they really shouldn't be caught up in. They're just looking for somebody to pay attention to them and love them and acknowledge them and validate them as people. And these men, just like somebody typed in here, like sharks and they smell blood, and there they go. And it's really sad to see, but that's what happens. Um, Women who have been raised without their dads tend to experience insecurity within their relationships. The attachment styles that relate to these insecurities are preoccupied attachment, dismissing, avoidant attachment, and fearful avoidant attachment. And what that means is they're afraid. They're both afraid of love and then afraid to be without the dude. So there's this like this yo-yo effect of off and on, off and on. I see that in some of my relatives' relationships. It's kind of interesting. Um, they're then preoccupied. That's where you just like always, all you can think about is this dude. It's like this, every conversation with this woman is about this guy. It's like, do you ever think about anything else? I mean, it's like she just becomes fixated on him. But every little turn of his head, what does that mean? And he said this, he looked that way when he said it. What does that mean? And it's like this, it's this total, it's ridiculous. Whereas a woman who grew up with a dad who has a very strong sense of herself is not bothered about what he does and what he says. It's like, what the fuck ever. I'm busy doing me. I mean, it's nice if he comes along with me, but it's not really, I'm not tripping on what he does like that. Yeah. Let's see what somebody says here. It's 2018. I feel parents should sit down with their 6-year-olds and tell them the truth. Like if someone touches you, yeah, well, yeah, definitely. You definitely got to teach your kids about good touches and bad touches. But, that's kind of an aside to this thing. We're mainly talking about the let's assume that that's not the case, because see, that takes us down a whole nother branch. I want to talk about just the absence of this fatherly relationship and what it does, not if she had somebody there and he didn't do what he was supposed to do. Yeah, I've seen that too. Girls, it's like they're just hungry. I don't know, I can't even describe it. Just like this desperate neediness for validation and acceptance. And those are the ones, a lot of them, the ones that you call the pick-me's. Now, admittedly, religion is involved in some of those girls, that they did grow up with a dad, but they may have grown up in a house where it was heavily religious, and the mother submitted and did all this kind of stuff, so the daughter picked that stuff up too. But even if it's not like that, these girls, being so hungry and desperate for a man, that they develop that pick-me attitude. They idealize marriage and husbands and family because it's things that they grew up without. They've never had, they didn't see an interaction like that between a husband and a wife. So they think that's the epitome of a wonderful relationship, having a family, being like June Cleaver on the Beaver or something. And they don't really look at the tough road that it is to be married and stay married, and the emotional fortitude and resilience that's required, the great communication skills, and the strong sense of self that you must have in order to establish and maintain boundaries with your partner and make demands on them that are appropriate for the cage, and not let them run over you and stuff like that, make them pull their into the bargain and pull their weight. So all of that kind of stuff comes into play in marriage. And if you don't have a strong personality, you're not have a strong sense of yourself, you're very unsure of yourself, you're very insecure, you lack confidence, your self-esteem is low, you're going to take all kind of shit from men that you really shouldn't take. And a lot of it is, those are the women that turn around and say, well, at least I got a man. No, 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 no. You're confusing at least I got a daddy with at least I got a man. You're looking for something to come. You can never replace that father relationship. That's never going to happen. You can't, no matter how high and low you look, how many men you call daddy, because a lot of women like to do that shit too. They want to call a man daddy and stuff like that. You got to let that go. And if you need some counseling to do that, I would highly recommend it. It's probably something you wouldn't need more than 10 sessions to get through. But, there has to be some breakthroughs there. You have to do, there has to be a lot of forgiving and letting go of those kind of hurts and feelings of rejection and stuff. Yeah, you do try to please everybody because you want somebody to love you. You don't want to be rejected like your dad rejected you. I get it. Trust me, I understand it. But my point is at least to show if this is how you feel, this might be a contributing factor to it, in which case you have some thinking to do and some work to do. Because if you keep picking these kind of men and you get like madly in love and you start doing all this stuff for them and stuff, trying to quote earn their love, think about why you're doing that. What's missing in you? Where is the hole that you're trying to fill? Is this hole left because of a fractured relationship with your father? If that is the case, I'm telling you, you got to get some therapy because you can't fill that. There's no man in this world, I don't care how much he loves you, who can fill that void left by your missing father. That's something that you're going to have to work on and fill by yourself, at least 3/4 of the way. I mean, dude might be able to put a cap on it or something, but he can't love you and fill up that hole from a whole nother person, from a whole nother relationship, from decades of your life. He can't do that. You're never going to feel whole and happy in a relationship if you're looking for the man in your life to do for you like that. It's impossible. He will never, you'll always be miserable in your relationship and feel unsatisfied because he's not giving you the stuff that you imagine that you need. That's not his job. Okay? So I'm not looking at, yeah, oh, wait, honey, because wait, I met this dude, right? And he's like, oh, I want you to call me daddy and I'll call you mama. I'm like, what? We broke up on the spot. I think it was like our fifth date or something. We would just get to that point where, it was starting to get interesting. And he came out with that shit. I was like, oh no, you little edifice, whatever that word is. I can't do that. I had a daddy, and that's just like gross to me. I mean, I'm thinking like if I say daddy, that's the man I'm thinking of. This dude, this one. That's who I'm thinking of when I say daddy, and that's not gonna be anybody that I'm gonna be in the bed with. That's not gonna happen. So I immediately was so turned off. I was like, ew, you're gross, and so that was the end of that relationship. I couldn't do that. That was natty. That natty, as my little tiny cousin says, he's 2.5. That nasty cousin. I was like, oh, they're teaching kids their feelings don't matter. Well, yeah, they do that. You never realized it? Really? Well, I'm telling you, a lot of single women in church looking for father figure in the pastor. I have no doubt about that because they sure be listening to everything they tell them, like he's their parent. I know this one woman was telling me when she was getting ready to get married, her pastor insisted that she come and bring the dude to church so he could meet him and give his approval. I'm like, did you do it? And she says, yeah. I'm like, why? What's he got to do with your marriage? Well, that's my pastor. So you see what I mean? That's my daddy. It's the same kind of mentality. I don't know. I couldn't do it. You're not Moses. I'm going to marry who I want to marry, and you don't have to like it. That's my decision. I might not like it after a few years either, but again, that'll be my decision. So, this research points to the fact that um, there's a direct link between being fatherless and the likelihood of being in a dysfunctional relationship, what we just talked about. You know, you just take so much shit because you're so hungry for that relationship, so desperate to have a man to fill that empty spot in you and to kind of soothe over the feelings you have of being rejected and abandoned. But I'm telling you, it's never going to happen. You cannot put a separate somebody else in daddy's place. Daddy fucked up, and that's just the way it is. And a lot of times, you know, you women, you do go in, you go, well, I'm gonna give him another chance. You know, that's my father, blah blah blah. And then, of course, all he does is fuck up again because he's a fuck up. But and that's what fuck ups do. Like snakes, snakes will bite. That's what snakes do. Dogs will bark. That's what dogs do. Cats will scratch. That's what cats do. I mean, you know what I mean. Things are gonna revert to their true nature, and so you can't change him. He's a grown man. But the only thing you have power over in this situation is how you respond to it. But half the battle is recognizing these behavior patterns in yourself, understanding the root cause of them, and then getting some professional help to help you navigate through it to the other side. Because you definitely can be whole again, and get your like man picker back and your self-esteem up boosted up, and there's a lot of girls feel like I can't do any better. I can't do any better than this guy that I have now. And I'm like, why do you say that about yourself? And a lot of it stems from the fact that they had nothing so to them that's something. At least, they have something there. Whereas with their father, all they ever felt was rejected, abandoned, and not good enough. They're not good enough. There must be something wrong with me. Otherwise, why did he leave me? Why didn't he love me? Why was I bad? Was I not good enough? What was wrong with me? Why was I so terrible that he couldn't love me? He didn't want to be with me. I've heard all of those kind of things, and women just break down and start crying. And I'm just sitting there, I mean, I'm not necessarily the best in those kind of situations because I really don't know what to say, so I learned to shut up and not say nothing. But they have internalized all of this from their childhood, longing for this man to be in their life, and he just turned his back on them. And it's like you just see the sorrow, and they just sob. It's like these heart wrenching, soul wrenching cries. I'm like, oh my God, what am I supposed to do? So I don't know what to do because there's just too many. I can't. I'm just one person. But I think what I can do is kind of, guide you guys to, if you recognize, if you have these kind of behavior patterns in your life and you've noticed this stuff, you notice this is how you behave in relationship, you notice this is how you feel about yourself, you feel like you can't do anything right, somebody's always better than you, somebody's always prettier than you, somebody who has a boyfriend must be better than you because they have something that you don't. You have this great envy, this pain of the feeling like you've been separated from something that you deserve, that you're not good enough to get what they have, and that's why you lost out. And people have so many mixed up feelings about their childhood, it's not even funny. So if you recognize yourself and be honest with yourself, if you recognize your own attitudes and your own behaviors in some of these things that we're talking about here, then think about it. Does this stem from my childhood, and does this because my father turned his back on me? I mean, be blunt. That's what the motherfucker did. Okay, so you want to say I'm gonna put it in some kind of pretty bows and stuff. I suppose it's less hurtful to think it's some other reason, but essentially that's what he did. He didn't give a fuck. So you have to at some point accept that and then heal from it, and don't take that as an indictment of you. That's about him. That's about him being a fucker. That's about him being a person of low character, low value, and who doesn't have it in him to be responsible and accountable for the children that he created. He's just a fucking loser. But that doesn't mean that you have to suffer the rest of your life because he's a loser. Okay? You don't have to take that into tell her, lady boss. Throw them X's up. Bam! He's out. He a loser. Yeah, I'm sure you did, Christian. I mean, that's right. We got to start the healing. But the first thing that would be good for you to do, and this is what I encourage you to do, and you don't have to do it here in front of me. I have had people wrote later and told me that they were crying through my shows and stuff like that. And I mean, if you feel like my voice is soothing and can, help you get through the worst part of it, honey, cry away. I don't have no problem with that. People call and tell me, and write and tell me that that's what they did. And but understand, my thing is this, just think about when you have like a sore, right? You scraped your knee as a kid, you got a gash or something, you had to get stitches and whatnot. It was pretty bad, right? There's an open wound and it's sore, and you get a scab. Get a scab. Now, that scab is your body's way of protecting something that's injured, something that's vulnerable, something that being a protective mode right now. Okay, that's what your behavior is. You're protecting yourself from reality. You're acting out. You're not really dealing with the root cause of the problem. You're just trying to put a band aid on it by seeking these other relationships, by trying to get validation from someone else, not dealing with the pain that you feel, not really accepting it, just kind of push it aside and do all this other stuff, busying yourself with men and relationships and work and drugs and alcohol and sex and all these things that women do, to instead of really just sitting down and dealing with the problem. So this is what you do. After you listen to things like this, you see what's going on. What you have to do is take that band-aid off, because it's protecting it. But you've been protecting yourself for years. You gotta let it heal. The body heals the best when it's exposed to air and sunshine. Sunshine does miracles for the human body. So you got to take that band-aid off, and you got to pull that scab off, and you got to let your body. Oh, I do? Okay. Thank you, whoever. I must have missed it. I'm just running my mouth. But you got, the scab is there, right? You got to peel that off, and it's going to be that fresh new skin under there. It's going to be tender and raw, and it might hurt a little bit, and you kind of be like protective of it, which you should. But you have to let the sun hit it. You have to let the wind hit it. You have to let new life breathe into those wounds, so then it'll heal over, and then you'll be back to where you should be. That's the healing process for the human body. It works exactly the same with the mind and the heart. Exactly the same. So, running around doing all these activities and trying to distract yourself with men after men, and, haircuts and makeup, and, you doing all the stuff, and you're not dealing with the problem that's driving you to collect and select these crazy ass men and accept worse treatment than you should ever accept. Accepting men, using you for booty calls, and men standing you up for dates or showing up late or only wanting to come to your house and not taking you out, showing you disrespect, calling you names, shitting on your dreams. Don't do that to yourself. And this is part of the healing process. So that's what I'm trying to get you done. I want you to hear me, because this is all about you getting to the other side. I can't keep seeing this, and like some of you, you're so angry, you're so hungry for somebody to love you. You be having kids at 13, 14, 15 years old. You're not really, of course, you're too young. You don't understand what you're doing to yourself. So if you guys know young ladies, and that's what, that's the thought pattern. Hey, well, at least if I have a baby, the baby will love me. The baby's incapable of loving you. Babies are parasites. All they do is take. They don't give shit. They cry, they want you to feed them. It's all about them. And unless you're a whole and healthy person, you're likely to abuse or neglect your child, because you don't have it in you to really give them, because you need to be given to yourself. You need to be whole first. You can't just have half a cookie and then split the half a cookie in half and think anybody that's getting that little morsel is going to be full and satisfied. Ain't nobody going to feel good. At least you should have ate the half a cookie. You would have been half full. You see what I'm saying? But I know my analogies are off the hook tonight. I'm trying to get my thoughts together, because, like I said, that thing about the fathers doing the 1 day of work, that just, 1 day at the kids at school, that shit threw me for a loop. I was just like, I don't know. You see, I'm still stuttering. It's like, and I mean, you could just see like row after row, page after page on Google of the media coverage for this one day where some niggas got off their ass and took their kids to school, and all of them was black. Maybe like a sprinkle or two of Latinos, but it was kind of interesting. He abandoned a 200 dedicated to taking care of him. Why? Exactly. That's right, Christian. It does do that. And it's unfortunate that a lot of the fathers are the ones who are doing the crushing, and they do the crushing in either that way by violating children's body, its minds and spirits, or they do it by totally ignoring the child, which crushes their mind, body, and spirit. So, ladies, this is something for you to think about too. I keep telling women, yes, you are the gatekeeper. You are the gatekeeper. From through your womb, all life, all human life comes forth. You are the one who decides who will father your children. Even in the case of sexual assault, get a fucking abortion. Okay? You do not have to have that kid. And if especially, I want you to think about this kind of stuff like that I'm talking about here. If you have a man who, looking at, he's thinking about he's going to be the father of your child, who is this motherfucker? I mean, what kind of experience is he going to provide for any child that you have? Do you guys need to think about that? I mean, think about the holes in the spirits of all these little girls running around here who have these absent fathers, or fathers who just tell them to their face that they ain't shit. Do you like your mama? You ain't nothing. You man. And or take advantage of them and abuse them physically, sexually, mentally, verbally. Ladies, you got to do a better job of choosing who you have as the father of your children. This is just insane. This makes no sense to me. And you got these guys, they got kids by 19 other people and they ain't taking care of them. They don't show them kids any kind of respect. Why are you putting your child in that trick bag? Why would you do that to him or her? It's like you hate the kids when you set them up like that. You got to think about this kind of stuff. If you are not prepared to do all of the work to fully parent your child, love that child for two people, and guide it to maturity and give it discipline and kindness and love and support and education and all the things that children need, protection. If you don't think you can do that by yourself because you have a hole in your own heart and your own soul that you need to fill up, don't have kids. Get yourself on some solid birth control and stay on it until you get your shit fixed. Get your mind right. Your father told you that he never wanted you. Oh my God. What would possess somebody to say some shit like that to their own child? Honey, fur babies are good. I'm just like appalled. I don't know. Some of these dudes. That's what I'm saying, then you got to look at, mama, come on now. Why did you choose him to have a baby by? Really? Out of all the dudes? And that's one thing I like. I really feel. I mean, yes, two people. It takes two people to get a woman pregnant. Trust me, I understand that. I be on these dudes. You got to live and using those birth control, those you strap up and shit. You was trying to have a baby, so don't come crying about it if she decides to have it and your ass is on the hook for 18 years. My question right now, though, isn't that. My question is right now is if you see a man that ain't shit, he don't want no kids, he's telling you I don't want no kids, he don't have no money, he's not stable, he's living with his mama, he's still going to school, he don't have shit, he in and out of jail, he's stupid, he's a druggie, he's a gangbanger always wanting to shoot up someplace or something, hanging around drinking all the time. I mean why what are you thinking? Why would you want to have a child by that? Why would you want a child to think that's my daddy? That's the gene pool that I come from. What are you thinking? That man doesn't deserve to have a dog, let alone a child. I'm just appalled at some of the lack of thinking, ladies. Come on now. Yeah, I know. I can imagine that would hurt, but you got, like I said, you can't stop them from being ignorant. You can't stop them from hurting you. You certainly can't. We don't have that dink power. I wish I did, but I would change a whole bunch of shit. But the only thing that you have a power over, Angel, is how you what you do with that. Because yes, it's hurtful. I'm not saying it's not, but the person who's ignorant here is him. So, in a situation like that, he said that, a good thing for you to think about it now, or even say to him or write to him if you got a chance, is I am a wonderful person. You should be feeling blessed that I came into your life. Having me was a godsend. And I don't even believe in God, but I still like that phrase. And I bring joy to everyone that I meet. I'm this, I'm that, I'm talented, I'm beautiful. I've changed the world by my presence here. And just ramp yourself up. Tell him all the shit that you did without him. And say, but it's nice to know that you at least contributed to me getting here. So for that, I thank you. It's unfortunate that you couldn't understand what you were bringing forth and how to appreciate it. But I hope that at some point that you realize the mistake that you made by saying that to me and feeling that way. But until you do, you enjoy your life and don't contact me, because I choose to continue being positive and bringing positive change to the world. And that's what you need to do. Now, you write him a letter, you text it to his ass, you send him an email. I mean, whatever you want to do. But I want you to express that. And I want you to go deep into your spirit. And I want you tell him, his fucking ass, every wonderful thing about you, every smile that you bring to people's face, every joke that you tell, every talent and skill and everything that you have. Okay? You do that. You do that. No, she should not be quiet. Well, she should be quiet and leave him alone after she says this, because the next step would be his. But no, no, no. She has to say something. She cannot let him have the last word, and the last word cannot be some bullshit like that. Fuck that shit. He will never have the last word. Not while she on my team. She on this squad. When she showed up here, she on this squad. So no, she's not. He's not gonna have shit last word. No, I refuse to accept that. Nope. And like I said, she can write, and what she writes it and presses send. Now what he does with the information, that's out of her control. This is why I say everything here, we can only talk about your reaction to stuff, what you do. But I mean, every interaction I've had with you, you seem like a cool person. I haven't seen anything but that would make me think that you were somebody that nobody would want. Now, I mean, he may admit that not necessarily as harmful as we're taking. He might admit that he was stupid and young and dumb and he wasn't ready to be a daddy. He may admit something, as silly as that. And it came out kind of wrong, you know what I mean? But it doesn't matter, because what you're going to do is explain to him that, it's unfortunate that he feels that way. But you can rewind and listen to words, because usually when I get on a roll, I be spewing my stuff, and then after that I forget what I said. But yeah, fuck him. Fuck him. Exactly. Put that shit on back on him. Say, you stupid. If you don't think you didn't want all of this, you was a blessed motherfucker. You better be counting, you be on your knees thanking God, Jesus, and everything else. I'm trying to tell you. So let's talk a little bit more about this. The fatherless one. This author says the first category in the fatherless woman syndrome is the factor. This occurs when the woman suffers from low self-esteem and feels that no one could ever want or love her. This correlates to the woman's relationship as a child with her father. A father plays a distinctive role in shaping a daughter's sexual style and her understanding of the male-female bond. A father's love and involvement builds a daughter's confidence in her own femininity and contributes to her sense that she is worth loving. The woman who fits into this category may believe that because her father was not in her life, that she's not worthy enough to have anyone romantically involved in her life. Why would anyone want her if her own daddy didn't? See? That's what I'm telling you. That's what a lot of women express. A woman who had these feelings of unworthiness will possess a fearful avoidance attachment style. Yeah, they expect to get hurt. One of my cousins is going through that right now, but she doesn't realize that her fears and the way she's treating her husband are going to make her fears come true. Because it's just like, wow, this is something else. Those who fear abandonment possess the preoccupied attachment style and may become incredibly clingy with their partners. So women who have been abandoned tend to cling to their significant others because they feel they're going to be abandoned once again. I mean, she's saying everything that the women have always been telling me. I don't know. The next category is the sexual healing factor. They believe the primary indicator of fatherlessness in a girl or a woman is in her sexual expression. Some women who have abandoned avoid intimacy like those in the dismissive avoidance style. However, other women tend to go the opposite way and become incredibly promiscuous. Studies have shown that fatherless adolescent girls are more likely to be promiscuous than those who have been raised by their dads. Oh, yeah, because you don't really get a chance to be. I mean, like I said, I have to keep saying this over and over. As long as you have a whole and healthy, wholesome relationship with your father. Because, you try to go out the house with a dress on that's too short, shorts that's too tight or too short, too much makeup. They don't like the halter you got on. Oh, you showing too much chest. All kind of stuff. Where you think you going with that? Take that shit off and go put on some clothes. I can't tell you how many times I heard that from my father. When I was trying to be cute, shit, even when I was in college, it was like I could only wear my Gucci gear when I was at school, not when I came home, honey. Because Daddy was like, not like he had me dressing like a nun or nothing, but he would expect his shorts to be a certain length, my skirts to be a certain length. You don't be, sit with your legs all gapped open. You don't be just doing too much and being all out there and stuff. You conduct yourself like a young lady. I mean, all kind of, guidelines and rules I had. And, my brothers had some too. It wasn't no one-way street. They had to pull out chairs and help people on with their coats and open doors and not be loud and not, I mean, they learned, he taught them stuff too. But it was like, we had very strict guidelines for our parents. My brothers weren't gonna be sagging, walking around with shirts out, off and stuff like that outside. Put some clothes on, boy. What you doing? Mm-mm. Yeah, oh no. Ooh, honey, are you kidding me? My father would have kicked my ass to the moon trying to wear some shit like that. Yes, he was. He was very. So, see, that's a lot of women say, that's just respectability politics. That's how you know they grew up with no daddy. As soon as they come out with that shit, I already know. Because when you have a father, he's just like you said, he's going to hip you to what men do, what men think, and how men act. And it's not to say that you're responsible for anything that they do or say to you. I'm not saying that. So before somebody gets out, what my father was doing was trying to give me the tools to make sure that my boundaries were firm. Okay, my boundaries. So they couldn't ever say something like, well, you was dressed like that, so that's why I blah, blah, blah. You see what I'm saying? Now, I would be cute. There's something, called sophisticated sexy. Like, I might have a little sundress and have like an X in the back. So, it's showing a little skin or something, but it's not cut down to my ass and it's not, cut like to my titties and all this other stuff. It might come up to here or have a little V-neck or something, and little crosses, your arms around and stuff like that. And it just comes to your knees and you put your little high heels on, you drape your little sweater across your shoulders and everything, got your little handbag and stuff. I always looked very cute and very, girly and stuff. But, and it had an air of sexiness to it. I'm 16, 17 years old. But I wasn't walking around looking like a hoochie. I looked like a young lady, and I would have an outfit that could take me from, anywhere in the morning all the way through the evening, maybe with the changing some jewelry or put on a jacket or something like that. I could wear the same clothes. My parents taught me how to do that. So, I can pack for a trip and stuff and bring like 3 outfits and work that shit and, and look good for whatever occasion I have to. So, it's not necessary for you to show every single part of your body to anybody. It's not necessary to be out there like that unless you're just trying to get unnecessary attention. You get more attention from people of a higher class when you present yourself as a person of class. So, you don't have to show all your ass, girls. You don't have to have all your titties out. You don't have to wear the shortest, tightest shorts with your ass cheeks hanging out and all this kind of stuff. When I was growing up, the only people that dressed like that were prostitutes. Now that shit has gone mainstream because of rappers and stuff. But, still, it depends on where you want to go in life. Can you imagine Michelle Obama walking around looking like that? See what I'm saying? If you set your sights higher. I mean, you trying to go to the local nightclub, or you trying to go to the White House? Where you trying to go? What you trying to do with yourself and your life? All of that's going to take a toll. It's going to impact your decisions. And as far as your father goes, whether he was there or not, even when they're there, they still get on your fucking nerves. They get on your nerves. They just do stupid shit. But at least he's there and at least he's trying. You know what I mean? But the ones that just abandon you and just turn their back on you, that's to me is the worst. But we can't expect our dads or our mothers or even ourselves to be perfect. The perfect person hasn't been born yet and probably never will. Now, this article says, oh, wait, how half of the words got cut off? What kind of printing did I do? Well, this is special. Well, this woman did a survey. They called it the Fatherless Daughter Survey. They did it on Survey Monkey, and thousands of women responded to it worldwide. In analyzing responses collected from these thousands of women, they found one major experience fatherless women, apart from their fathered counterparts. Their loss caused emotions that were too hard to handle and were thus pushed underground and not adequately dealt with at the time. As the daughter grows into a woman, these repressed emotions tend to bubble to the surface and cause another significant trauma, loss, or abandonment. This lack of understanding of her current emotional scene, often seen as an overreaction to others, can leave her feeling guilty, isolated, misunderstood, and out of control. So they're saying that you have some kind of life experience that triggers that trauma. That's interesting. I wonder what it is. These part of the words got cut off. Well, this is not helpful, so let me just toss that in my bag of recycling. And then UNICEF did a study that called Father Absence, Father Deficit, Father Hunger. And it says, according to a 2007 UNICEF report on the well-being of children in economically advanced nations, children in the U.S., Canada, and the U.K. rank extremely low in regard to social and emotional well-being. In particular, many theories have been advanced to explain the poor state of our nation's children: poverty, child poverty, race, and social class. A factor that has been largely ignored, however, particularly among child and family policymakers, is the prevalence and devastating effects of father absence in children's lives. And wow, there's all kind of studies out about how the effects on boys. Boys tend to become violent. They go into criminal acts. They drop out of school. They do all kinds. They suffer from different mental illnesses, and they don't have any. They're just lost. They're lost. They have no guidance. Oh, he likes me. Oh, that's good. I think guys that have good sense understand where I'm coming from, because if they got their shit together, they could be my best friend. I don't have no problem with them. It's the ones out here that don't have their shit together and be trying to make women responsible for the fact that they don't have their shit together. That gets on my nerves, and then they get my wrath. They get all of this, all my niggnoggery talk. Rapish? You know what rapish is? When they exhibit like rapist-like qualities and behaviors. They may not actually do it, but they have that energy. That rapey, they call it rapey behavior. Thought-tastic dusties. Y'all are wrong for that. Wrong, wrong, wrong. I don't know. This is just kind of a bothersome thing. I really wanted to talk about this and have a shrink on the show, but I thought about it later, and it's like, oh, they're going to go into a whole bunch of theories and talk about a whole bunch of studies and this and that. And I really wanted to talk about the practical application and the way that the behaviors are manifested, and then let you guys see it in action, talk about it in action, and then give you some hints for what you need to do to delve into your spirit and see if that's why you do the things you do. That's why you think the things you think about yourself. That's why you make the choices that you make that get yourself in shit. Okay. Yeah. Well, I kind of hold back on that because they need some male figure. Oh, you are? Okay, well, good. We got one in the house that can kind of help maybe make sense of this. I think kids need, if their father, see, that's why I keep saying a wholesome, solid father to daughter relationship. Not one with some knucklehead that's going to abuse the child in any way, shape, or form, or, take advantage of the kid or hurt the kid. I'm talking about a man who's got his mind right. Now, if that's the father, then yes. No, the interview, we're going to have to do that on the weekend. Um, what I want to do, though, is make that a point, because if he's the right kind of dude, then yes, your child would need him. If he is a drug addict, he's a drug alcoholic, he's a sexual abuser, a porn addict, a wife beater, any of those kind of things like that, no, the child does not need to be around that. In a case like that, if a woman says that baby doesn't need a daddy, that's what she means. She doesn't mean A, she means that one. That one. So, but a good guy, sometimes people have a better relationship with a stepfather, an uncle, a big brother, a big sister, and, an auntie than they ever could with some of their actual family members. So, like a parent. But, I really think there's something for us to think about as a community, because when you look at all the statistics about the importance of fathers, and you look at how many black children are growing up without their fathers, and you see the impact of this with in how it plays out in what the actions that is causing in the black community, we have to put a stop to this, ladies, and the buck has to stop here. And it's like, yes, I know a lot of you have been abused. I think a lot, you have problems, you've been abandoned, you've been rejected, you hurt inside. But you have to heal yourself. You can't just try to push that under the rug and go and try to live a normal life, because just like that article said, at some point something's going to happen and it's going to trigger you, and all of those pains and all that hurt is going to come rushing out. And I think that's why a lot of people go into spirals of depression, and then some of them end up in suicide, and everybody's like, well, what happened? She always seems so happy. Something triggered that woman, and we will never know what it is, because then she checks up out of here. So I don't. I think this is something important that you guys have to do. No, the interview will be on the weekend. I have to, reach out to him and reschedule that. Yes, he's a former MGTOW. That's what we tried to do yesterday. That shit did not work. Oh my God, what a nightmare. That was like a facepalm moment. We had one drama after another. Me and Facebook, I don't know. Every time I try to go in there, be some drama. Yeah, well, instead of the men, yes. I don't say fatherless home, I say fatherless children. Fatherless daughters, fatherless sons. I talk about the father child relation, at least when I do it. I don't talk about that. Um, yeah, he better be. I think he is, I don't know. I think he'd be all right. I think they don't either. I remember I was dating this guy in college, right? He was talking about how, he can't wait to be a father and all this stuff. And I was looking at him thinking, you are a knucklehead. There's no way in this world you need to have any kids. And he was like, well, I don't see what the big deal is. And so I was explaining to him how important a father is to his daughter. I mean, that's her first mold for what a man is, how a man should act, how a man should talk, a man's work ethic, a man's family values, how a man behaves, how a man eats, how a man loves, how a man keeps his word. All of those kind of things. That girl, she might not be able to talk yet, but she's looking at you. She's watching. And all of the things that you do, don't do, say and don't say, and everything that every step you take, she's watching you. And every misstep that you take, and every time you treat her in an abusive way, or her mother in an abusive way, and she's absorbing that. So don't be surprised when she goes out and finds a man just like your fucking ass. Useless, abusive, stupid, rejecting, abandoning, a drunk, a druggie, violent. She learned it from you. And the ones who don't, they say leave the woman there, and leave the girls there by themselves. Where do you think she's still learning all that stuff? Because when you leave your children, especially your daughter, unprotected, what does she see? She's not only sees that stuff, it happens to her, because you're not there to protect her. You're not there. So you leave your daughter by herself. to fend for herself. And everybody, every kind of opportunist and vulture in the community sees a little girl by herself and he's going to swoop in and take full advantage of it. And you did that to her. So I don't understand these people. That should be the last thing that these men want to do. It should be the very last thing. They should be let their last breath making sure that their kids are okay. Because once they, that's all you got. That's your legacy right there. That's your blood. How can you turn your back on your kids? I mean, I just don't understand it. It's normalized. Well, might have something there. Yeah, in certain communities, I suppose it is. That kind of stuff is normal because everybody's, dad. Nobody's daddy's there. But when I was a little kid, it was like, the fathers were there. It was very rare to see one who wasn't. And so, things have certainly flipped in these last years. You ask somebody why he can't open your car door like your daddy does. What did he say? Ah, yeah, they're not. But see, Rika, that's why I'm telling them they don't need to have kids. You don't need to have children if you're not mentally or emotionally stable yourself. You have to be, you can't, you needy and you got a hole in your soul. There's nothing for you to give. You can't give anything to anybody. You're going into negative now, trying to give something to somebody. You don't have nothing to give. That's what I'm saying. It's generational trauma, exactly, and they're passing it on from generation to generation instead of somebody stopping, saying the buck stops here. We're not doing this. We're gonna stop, and we're gonna get this fixed, and then we will have children. Until we work on ourselves and get ourselves right and get our shit straight, we're not bringing any kids into this mess. I mean, it amazes me how many women write my advice column talking about, well, I'm having a baby, but the drama is just like extreme. The drama's off the chart, and the baby, she's like 3 months pregnant. And it's like, this should be like a late term abortion. You should not be bringing no child into no bullshit like this you just talking about right here. This makes no sense. So you see that poor little child is just doomed. The kid is doomed. And the parents are young and silly. Woo! You told them date over? That's right, girl. Hold them standards. I'm telling you. I know sometimes I do have, that's why I tossed out the other subjects that I was going to talk about. I just needed to address this in my own style, not necessarily very clinical, but, trying to touch on the emotional state of the people that, write to me and that visit my channels and websites. I just see all this pain, all this hurt, these deep wounds. And we got to do some healing. And it's going to have to start with us ladies. You start with you, and then you work with your daughters. And if we get the women straight, then the men will fall in line, because a lot of the games they try to run and stuff, it won't work anymore. They'll have no option but to change, because you won't be needing them like that. You won't be crying about being alone and lonely and choosing garbage just because you won't have to be on you won't have to be alone. You will prefer to be alone because you're comfortable with yourself and your own skin, and you love yourself. One of the best experiences you can have is spending time with yourself, just living your life, being happy by yourself. And when you can reach that point, then you're going to go out and you're going to only want to choose to interact with people who are as healthy as you. People who are sick won't want to have anything to do with you, because as soon as they approach you, just look at them like that and they'll be gone, because there won't be anything that they're talking about that you want to even hear. You see what I mean? Yes, you got to admit it. You got to admit that you're hurt. Okay, stop being busy. Stop watching TV. Stop distracting yourself with fashion and music and nails and weaves and hairdos and, kids, having kids and niggas and all this stuff that you guys do. Sit still and just let it happen. Rip the scab off and cry. Let the tears out. Feel vulnerable. Get your best friend over to hold your hand or something, and then your mama or somebody, your sister, somebody who you trust that is gonna let you understand where you come from. You've got to let that pain out, and then once you hit the bottom, you can start rebuilding yourself. But as long as you try to pretend like that hurt's not there, I'm all right. That didn't mean shit to me. I didn't do nothing. Then you're not gonna be able to heal from that. You like I keep telling you, gotta rip the scab off. Y'all letting the scab around you just try to insulate you from the pain that you don't want to feel. You have to feel it. It's gonna hurt. That's why you need to have your support system, in place first. But once you admit that this is the hurt that you feel, you can change those behavior patterns that you're exhibiting because of the hurt that you're trying to not acknowledge. Do you see what I'm saying? You have to admit it. And then you'll stop letting these men come to your house at midnight because you feeling lonely. You'll stop, dealing with fuck boys. You'll demand that men take you out on a date. You'll hang up on the phone of anybody who stresses you out your name or who starts talking about something sexual on the first phone call. You'll just hang up. It'll be like nothing that you want to hear. You click. On a man takes you on a date and he starts acting stupid, you get up and get your keys and you'll walk out the door. You get in your car and you'll drive yourself home. You won't entertain knuckleheads. You'll have very high standards for the men that come into your life. You will go on trips with your girlfriends because you won't be spending your money trying to please and impress men. You'll be saving your money and you'll be taking yourself on some trips and you'll be meeting men in other countries. And you'll have a blast dancing on the beach in your bikini. Okay, there's light choices here that you need to be making. But as long as you stay focused on knuckleheaded knick-knocks and trying to think that that's the only path that you can take in life and that this is something that you must do and you keep trying to work on healing this relationship with your daddy that is impossible to heal because you can't do that. You can't make another person do anything. What you're going to have to do is only heal yourself. And part of that is, get the anger out that you have at him. Just, get that over, write him a letter. Do what you ever have to do, like I suggested this other young lady do. You got to direct your anger where it needs to be. Don't direct it at yourself. When you hold your anger in, that's what causes people to get depressed. Let your anger out. That's what Deb is never depressed. Woo, honey, I'm so undepressed, it's not even funny. Because I don't hold nothing in. You get on my nerves, I'm going to tell you. Even the people in the chat, I did get on my nerves, I tell them. And that's just how I live my life. I'm not going to do that. And I want you to adopt some of that. I know you can't do it overnight. This has been me since birth. But, you need to learn how to do some of that. And when people talk crazy to you, you have to check them. And if you can't find the words to do it right then, like her daddy did say that mean stuff to her, she didn't say how old he was. But the you that you are right now, you can write him. At least, you may not be able to find the words to tell him, voice like, but you can certainly write a letter and tell that motherfucker about himself and how great and wonderful your ass is. That's what you need to do. Okay? And then that when you let that out, then we can start on the next step, which is, getting you to where you need to be. Get yourself on track here. All right? Yes, undepressed. Is that a word? Is that a word? But you know what I'm talking about. That's one of the reasons that you still married. Honey. Yeah, suicidal. They have an anxiety and depression and shit taking. What's some pills? Prozac and shit everybody be taking? Anti-anxiety medications and everything. Mm-mm. You can't do that to yourself. You can't do that. You can't. You've got to you got to live your best life, and part of that means, everybody has childhood wounds. And I'm not trying to hold that against you. I'm not trying to say other people are better than you or worse than you. I'm not saying any of that. I don't do that here. What I do is point out some areas where you're hurting yourself or making some bad choices. If you're making bad choices, Deborah's job is to figure out why. Once I figure out some possibilities, because everybody's different, then I'm going to say, I'm going to make suggestions for things for you to look at. You look at them. I can't make you look at them. You look at them when you're ready, and then you think about them, and you think about if something I said here resonates with you. Exactly. It's like your homework. And if it resonates with you, please do the work, because you need to be the beautiful woman that you are and experience all the joy in the world. I mean, there's a lot of foul, funky stuff going on in the world, but there's a lot of wonderful, joyful things that are going on too. And if you feel wonderful and joyful yourself, you're going to even make more wonderful and joyful things happen because you're going to want to spread the joy that you got. See? Like I do, even though my joy is peppered with profanity. And bad jokes is still with, because I care. So that's why I do this. I want to see. I mean, even if I feel like if my work reached two people and two women are healed, well, that's two more than was healed yesterday. You see what I mean? So that's fucking success as far as I'm concerned. I don't need to have, 2,000 people. I mean, that would be great. I probably wouldn't know what to do with myself. My head would swell to the size of this whole planet. But two, five people, I'm cool with that. Because I know that those are some very, very brave women. This is not easy to do. This ain't easy. This is not easy work to do, to get into your head and your heart and figure out why you're hurting and what to do with the hurt. It's not easy, but you guys have got to do this. I can't stand it when I see women just like flitting around, just doing all stuff, keeping busy and keeping themselves occupied, and they fall into bed exhausted because they're trying to do everything possible other than think and feel. And you had these like superficial relationships with bullshit ass niggas, and you just do all the stuff. You want to volunteer for every project. You keep yourself so busy, 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 and obligated, time obligated, just so you don't have to ever sit down and think. You don't want to feel. You don't want to know what you're really feeling, what's really hurting you, what's really eating you. You're not ready to deal with it. You know. You guys have got to do that work. But anyway, it's about that time. We be trying to stay around here for an hour and a half or so I don't wear out my voice. But you guys really, I would appreciate it. Go away and think about this kind of stuff. If you feel like it, you want to touch base with me and share a little bit of information or ask another question or something. You don't want it to be public. Just write me at survivingdating@gmail.com. Remind me what your screen name is, because sometimes what people's email and what the name they use here are different. I'm not gonna know who you are, so you're gonna have to tell me. And survivingdating@gmail.com, and share your thoughts on this topic, and you can share your story. And then I'm going to be setting up a form. I'll probably do it this weekend, where you guys can upload like a 2-minute video, because I'm going to be asking some questions in addition to the videos I'm going to be doing locally. This is my beautiful video camera that my Patreon people bought for me. This is going to change this channel tremendously starting this weekend. I'm going to be out in the streets and doing videos, but I also want to get some contributions from you guys. So I'm going to be posting some questions. They'll be up on survivingdating.com. I'll be posting the link around, and you can record a video response up to 2 minutes in length. Please don't be going on and on. And I'm going to, edit those and put them all together and have everybody's responses. So you'll be able to contribute at home as well as people locally, so everybody get to participate in the survey. See how I'm doing things? We just going high tech up in this motherfucker. And I have the technology to do it. I know how to do it, so I'm going to set that up this weekend. And start with the questions. I'll maybe post like 3 or 5 questions, and you can respond to all of them, different videos, or none of them, or one of them, whatever you want. Okay? Honey. Yes, we are. We leveling up around this bitch. It's gonna be on and popping around here. Yes, Lady Boss, my ex-lady, thank you for coming through. Thank you. Let me see how you pronounce that. Ishuel Sharon. Okay, I guess that's it. Kinu Goddess, Tanika. My girl Tanika, she kind of cray-cray. Fatima, thank you. And Richie, my little friend, thank you. You guys are very consistent with showing up. I want to thank you. And everyone who's not subscribed, please become a subscriber to the Debsterism channel. We'd appreciate your participation here. You click the little bell symbol after you subscribe, and you'll get immediate notifications to your phone when I decide to go live. Tuesdays and Thursdays are pretty consistent, but the other days I just pop up whenever the mood strikes. So you need to become a subscriber with the bell symbol so you will know what's happening around here, because I just, the mood strikes and I sit down and fire up my equipment and start talking. But that's how we do it around here. And then on the weekend, we'll have some other surprises for you. Try to get this interview set up with Scott so we can talk about his reformed views of MGTOW. I really think that's going to be a very interesting show. And and then we'll roll on into next week. All right, you guys? But thanks for sitting in with me. Like I said, do not feel shy. Write me if you have questions and you don't want to have your business all up on the page. Survivingdating@gmail.com. And I will see you all on the weekend. All right? Yeah, become a Patreon subscriber. We're looking for people to donate $20 a month or more. You're going to be with me in a private chat probably around the 1st of October. So I'll give you guys plenty of time to get everything set up. And Kristen, yes, lady boss girl, you awesomer. You're more awesomer. All right, I'll see you guys soon.